The Founding Fathers are much more diverse in their views than we often assume. And there were founders, particularly in South Carolina, who quite early were saying that slavery is with us and it will be with us forever and we should stop apologizing for it. That was a minority view among the founders. Much more characteristic would be the views of somebody like George Mason or Patrick Henry or Thomas Jefferson or George Washington, who would quite frankly say that slavery is wrong. It's a moral evil. But they would also add to that a fear that there was nothing they could do in their own lifetimes to end slavery. That mostly they would hope that sometime in the future there would be some development that would render slavery less profitable, and that sometime in the future the voters of different southern states would be willing to allocate the funds to export all of the enslaved people into freedom elsewhere in the world, because they could not bring themselves to think about the possibility that black and white Americans could live side by side in freedom. Most of the founders thought that would be impossible, that if blacks were freed, that they would become an even greater security problem, and there would be a race war in America. And so to head off that race war, they insisted that any program of freeing the slaves would have to be coupled with a program for deporting them as colonists back in Africa. This is a complete non-starter. The funds for this never would have been available. And African Americans did not want to go back to Africa, the great majority of them. They wanted to be American citizens in equality in this country. But it is this fantasy that is clung to all the way up to the Civil War. Even Abraham Lincoln embraced this at the very start of the Civil War. So it's a fantasy that dies very hard in America.